Before humans wrote their names in stone, before language or fire had a name, the world was only ice, hunger, and the will to live. The wind screamed across the ancient Arctic like a dying beast, tearing skin, freezing breath, and erasing footprints moments after they were made. The earth was not soil but frozen blades of ice, sharp enough to cut through bone and hope. And yet, across this white silence, a small group of Homo sapiens walked. Men, women, and children, draped in animal hides stitched with bone needles, faces carved by wind, brows heavy with frost, eyes sunken yet burning with something fierce. They were not kings, not legends, just fragile bodies of flesh and bone against storms older than memory. But within them burned a fire, not made of wood or spark, but of refusal. Refusal to die. In mammoth-bone shelters, children huddled close to fading embers. Mothers wrapped bleeding hands around infants to share warmth. Fathers stood in silence at cave mouths, gripping bone spears, watching the blizzard with eyes that no longer feared death. They had no word for hope, yet hope lived in every breath that froze in the air. The cold they faced did not make you shiver, it killed. Tears turned to ice. Meat became stone. Skin split open just from touching the wind. But in this world of ice and silence, humanity was forged. They learned to steal fire from stone, to share a scrap of meat with starving mouths, to stand together not to defeat the storm, but to keep one another alive through it. There were nights when tents collapsed, flames died, and the world vanished in white. Yet fathers still held their children. Mothers still hummed wordless lullabies. And when the sun returned, weak, pale, but real, they whispered, not with words but with breath, "We survived." This is not a story of glory. It is the story of fragile humans standing on the edge of extinction and choosing to live. This is episode 1, Fire in the Ice. The Arctic Homo sapiens. The storm passed, but the cold remained, curling around their bodies like a frozen serpent. Food was gone. Fire was dying. But instead of surrendering, they began to shape survival with their bare hands. Around the frozen carcass of a mammoth, they knelt, not to mourn, but to create. Stone struck bone, bone split, marrow boiled into glue used to bind flint to wood. A tool, not a weapon of conquest, but a promise of tomorrow. In sapphire ice caves, men heated stones near embers, then shattered them into sharper blades. Sparks danced across frozen walls, reflecting in deep, sunken eyes. Women stitched torn furs with bone needles, fingers cracked and bleeding, yet steady. Children watched, learning without words, because knowledge was not taught. It was preserved through survival. Outside, under violet skies and drifting snow, they twisted sinew between teeth and hands to make bowstrings. They hollowed reindeer bones, carved spear shafts, set traps using mammoth ribs and sharpened stakes. Not brute strength, but thought. Not chaos, but invention. Inside mammoth-bone shelters, elders carved thin bird bones into needles, while mothers taught children to pierce hide and pull sinew tight. In the blue silence of ice caves, they stored finished tools in frozen walls like sacred offerings to the future. Then came light, a bowl of animal fat, a wick of dried moss, a tiny flame. Their faces glowed in awe. This was not just fire. This was defiance written in light. When morning came, they stood upon a frozen lake. Stone axes struck ice, exploding into shards that glittered like stars. A bough bent. A flint-tipped arrow flew, piercing the frozen trunk of a tree. Silence followed. Not celebration. understanding. They had changed the world. And as the red sun sank beyond the tundra, they gathered around fire, not as prey of the ice, but as its equal. This is Episode 2, Tools in the Ice Age North, Ingenuity Under Frost.